you know, where before, you know, the shifts and everything, you try to get, you know, really put the effort in to get the college hours and everything, work on it, spare time, bang those hours away.
So essentially, 4 years later, he's done nothing. Like I said, wants to whine about, well, I got a kid in college. Everybody's got a kid in college. Everybody's got kids in college. But it costs so much money. I said, oh, you're talking to the wrong guy. I just spent $15,000 finishing a bachelor's degree that I waited 12 years for because they kept telling me the city's going to do the reimbursement thing again. The city's going to do the reimbursement thing again. So I waited around for 12 years and that didn't happen. So Mark said, I want to retire in 18 months. I said, well, shit, I better get busy. I guess I'm spending 15 grand to get done. You do what you got to do. Sit there and do nothing.
Alderman Green, this is Don Gill. Don Gill, like.
Hi, Mary Spatter. Nice to meet you.
Justin Sherman, nice to meet
And this is Alderman Cathy, Don Gill. Day 2 today.
Nice. Nice.
Honestly, Explorer's not big enough. 2 times the rescue truck, current rescue truck was down for a few hours. And we used one of the Explorers. I can't get the equipment they need in there.
Okay.
With their gear, their PPE, their tanks, and the basic EMS equipment. That's it. That's all it'll fit. So I've got the used out there because one day Lou got on the bed and did a search, and we found a couple of tires because the current model tires, a couple from 2009, 10, 11, 67,000 for under 25.
Yeah.
We also found some pickup trucks with a camper shell on it, 21 or 22 for the state.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Well, those all look briefly.
I'm good, how are you guys?
Excuse me. That's good now. I fully expect so.
What do you guys say? Yeah, the way it is. Well, maybe that's a good side of it, right?
The answer is, the road's not big enough to get back up Crestwood.
I would see that.
Honestly, I can't justify that for myself. Once or twice a month, and sit outside and, you know,
Look at those, surplus property, what's there, those TS.
went online, but there was some fire district that had 4-year-old toddlers decked out to the nines. And they had like 4 of them, so obviously that's their rotation cycle. I think they had 60 or just under 60,000 miles on it. And it's like, that's a $40,000 vehicle. It's 4 years old. We can play them. They were like,
Yeah, that could work.
I'm like, you know,
They have a whole bunch of that stuff already in it.
exactly. So that's kind of how we settled it. 25, you know, to try to find something. And then the pickup idea, we kind of started upon later. And I'm like, you know, that's because essentially, every day, that's what it is for us. It's a program bin, go pick stuff up, take sauce to the shop, pick up stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we would also use it for, like today, yesterday, we got a so instead of the third guy on the there's a whole lot more value in having a captain running.
Yep.
Because he's getting some training.
They get it.
So props in my car running duty. 4 people on the rover, 2 on the floor. Then it's loose. We can keep catching some days off. So when we do that, the general one of us is not on call that week. We give up our hours. That way, like I said, it's a loose week.
Oh, you're right.
Something else happens, like he knows he has to pick it up. It's his week. So it's my off week. I give up my car to, like I said, I brought it yesterday. But there are some times where it's shell game, rotating cars around, pay the asses for like a crew working on the weekend, and they're full. It's like, okay, it's my duty. Blue's got to do his cars on Saturday morning. Now he's got to drive into Benton to give up his car and get a piece of crap.
Yeah, and not having stuff. You have to move stuff around.
Exactly. And then we might think it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, and then somebody calls in sick or something sick. And then Sunday morning, Blue's got to go back and switch again, because now he's got to be there. So by having a decent vehicle here, they'll be using that instead of our cars. And when they're back up, it'll be hard for us to
I know they're telling us that they're, I think it's still works.
Well, that's what got that
And transmission.
Isn't it electrically And we've repaired it twice since 13. The first time we did a used fuse box. Fixed it. It lasted 15 months. So the next time we did a brand new fuse box. And it lasted about another 18 months. So it's like, let's spend another $1,500. Yes. At some point, we're throwing good money after that. It's not for that. I can't use this as an emergency response vehicle. Transmission won't shift, power shift, and then like it's a manual transmission. Drop it first and second and third. Last year was not this year. We fixed it together to fix the problem.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Board of Aldermen to order. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Reedy.
Here.
Alderman Pollock.
Here.
Alderman Scatter. Here. Alderman Charbonneau.
Here.
Alderman Maybe.
Here.
Alderman Miguel.
He is excused.
Alderman Henderson.
Here.
Alderman Kennedy.
Here.
7 are here. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is presentations, communications, and appointments, and I see none. So we will move on directly to public hearings. The first public hearing and the second public hearing for tonight were heard at an earlier meeting, and we tabled it until this evening to give the folks an opportunity to return with another plan. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they have sent us a letter. Do you care to respond to that, Mr. Simpson?
That's correct. City staff has received a letter from the applicant that they're withdrawing their application. So we can close the public hearing and take no vote or vote down or do whatever you want to do. Okay.
So let's just take a vote to close the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay. The next public hearing is a public hearing for a stop sign on Heather Drive at Blackthorn Drive.
Is it one of
Go ahead.
the public hearing? Do we need to have a motion to postpone indefinitely those two ordinances?
I'll refer to the city attorney on that.
Well, I think, are they even in your packet? Did you actually get them?
We have previous, yeah, I'm looking at them.
Okay.
And they're on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, are they, they haven't indicated, they've just asked to withdraw it.
Right. My understanding is that they're going to come up with a very different plan than we submitted.
Okay, then yes, let's put it
I would make that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay. All right, so we'll move on now to the public hearing for a stop sign on Heather Drive and Blackthorn Drive. Is there anyone here in the audience who is here to speak on that topic? I see no hands from anyone. Okay, so I'll open it up to the board. The board care to comment on this? This is an ordinance amending Article 7 of Chapter 14 Municipal Code of the City of Crestwood, Missouri to amend Section 14-183 relating to through streets and stop intersections, and to authorize the installation of a stop sign on Heather at Blackthorn at the intersection with Blackthorn Drive. Alderman Maybe?
This was considered by the Public Works Board at the request of residents that live in the vicinity of these two streets. No one testified at the Public Works meeting in opposition to the proposed stop sign, and after consideration, the Public Works Board did unanimously vote that to recommend approval of the installation of the stop sign.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion and a second for a first reading.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. City Clerk, give me a bill number, please.
1772.
17-72.
And that was a motion by Alderman Charbonneau, and the second was,
Pass that down to Alderman Statter, please. Alderman Statter, if you would do the honors, first reading.
Bill number 17-72, introduced by Alderman Statter. An ordinance amending Article 7 of Chapter 14 of the Municipal Code of the City of Crestwood, Missouri, to amend Section 14-183 relating to through streets and stop intersections, and to authorize the installation of a stop sign on Heather Drive at its intersection with Blackthorn Drive.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Anderson,
Yes.
Alderman Wallach,
Yes.
Alderman Maybe,
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau,
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy,
Yes.
Alderman Statter,
Yes.
Alderman Maybe.
Yes.
7 ayes, the motion has passed.
Okay. May I have a motion and a second for a second reading?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Maybe and a second from Alderman Charbonneau. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Alderman Charbonneau, would you do the honors, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Bill number 17-72, introduced by Alderman Statter, an ordinance amending Article 7 of Chapter 14 of the Municipal Code of the City of Crestwood, Missouri, to amend Section 14-183 relating to through streets and stop intersections, and to authorize the installation of a stop sign on Heather Drive at its intersection with Blackthorn Drive.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Maybe,
Yes.
Alderman Statter,
Yes.
Alderman Wallach,
Yes.
Alderman Anderson,
Yes.
Alderman Breeding,
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy,
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau.
Yes.
7 ayes, the motion has passed.
Okay, thank you. Next item is an ordinance regarding, or a public hearing regarding the removal of a stop sign on Fournier Drive at Hutchins Drive. Do we have any comments from anyone in the audience? See none? Any comments from any of the members of the board? Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I did notice in our packet that it says that this was not recommended by the Public Service Board. After reviewing some of the photos that we have, I'm actually looking at some now, I don't see a need to remove a stop sign. I think I'd like to see it stay in place just as a precaution, so we don't have someone blow through that intersection and then there's that, we regret it later. I think although the street does not go too far down that would be on the Fournier, I still believe that it would be best to serve the community if there would be a stop sign that would be stay in that place. And that's all I have, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Sim?
Yes, just to clarify for the public and for the board, because it might be a little confusing, the ordinance that the board is considering right now is to remove the stop sign. So if you're in favor of removal, you will vote and pass this ordinance, and if the board wishes to leave the stop sign in place, then you'll either postpone this ordinance indefinitely or vote it down or something along those lines. So just to clarify, that's all.
Alderman, maybe you're next.
I was just going to give some background from the Public Works meeting. Alderman Charbonneau correctly noted it was not recommended. I believe the vote to recommend that this ordinance be voted down was either unanimous or, I don't have my notes with me, it may have been with one dissenter, but the testimony was pretty wildly divergent. You had 2 or 3 residents that indicated this was a peaceful street and there was no need for the stop sign and it was widely ignored. And then 4 or 5 residents indicated this was one of the more dangerous intersections in the city and the stop sign absolutely needed to remain. And so given that the weight of the testimony from those living in the vicinity was that it remained, that was, I think, the primary driver of the Public Works vote.
Okay. Alderman Satter.
Actually, Alderman, maybe you just answered my question. I was going to ask for the background. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? I see no further lights. Do we have a motion and a second on this ordinance?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. What?
I was just
Oh,
confirming yes.
all those opposed say nay.
Are we voting, is a yes vote for? No, to read
To read it.
To read it, okay. All right.
Okay. Bill number?
1773. And that motion was made by Alderman Stutter, correct?
Yes.
And seconded by Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes. That's it. Alderman, maybe you can,
Certainly. Bill number 1773, introduced by Alderman Mabee, an ordinance amending Article 7 of Chapter 14 of the Municipal Code of the City of Crestwood, Missouri to amend Section 14183 relating to through streets and stop intersections, and to authorize the removal of a stop sign on Hudson's Drive at its intersection with Fournier Drive.
Fournier?
Is that the correct pronunciation? Is it? Okay.
All right. You want to take a roll call?
Alderman Wallet?
No.
Alderman Charbonneau?
No.
Alderman Mabee?
No.
Alderman Kennedy?
No.
Alderman Reading?
No.
Alderman Anderson?
No.
Alderman Stapp?
No.
7 nays. The motion passes.
Thank you. The ordinance dies.
Dies. The ordinance is
Correct. Enough to close the test. Okay, so now I'll ask for a motion and a second to close that public hearing. I have a motion. I'm sorry, who seconded? Alderman Wallach seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Okay, we will now move on to the next public hearing, which is the reading of the 2018 budget. The first ordinance before us tonight is a ordinance approving the general fund budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2018, and containing a summary of general fund expenditures. I'll ask if there's anyone on this side that would like to comment on the budget general fund. See no hands. Anyone on this side that would like to comment on the general fund? Yes, ma'am? Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, it's Martha Duchild, 9158 General Grant Lane. First, I'm going to read from a mailer we got from the Afton School Board. It says, due to an unexpected increase in assessed valuation of properties in our community, Afton School District is opting to forgo funds that would be made by Proposition I, an operating tax levy increase approved by voters in November of 2016, said Tom Bellavia, Afton Board of Education President. It is vitally important that our Board of Education remain fiscally responsible, and that includes easing the tax burden on our community whenever possible. As Dr. Steve Brotherton, Superintendent, we, together with our Board of Education, feel strongly that the district should continue to live within our means. We are committed to helping our community stay strong. I read that because Afton School Board understands the concept of living within your means, which is defined by distinguishing the nice-to-haves from the need-to-haves. Crestwood's 2018 budget contains several nice-to-haves. The most obvious and perhaps egregious of which is the proposed expenditure of $10,000 in postage plus additional expenditures on software to reissue the city newsletter mailings. The need for the city to live within its means is underscored by the $25 million pile of dirt currently sitting where the mall redevelopment is supposed to be underway. At nearly $250,000 projected expenditure, the real winner in the 2018 budget is not the taxpayer, but Lashley & Bear, the city's law firm. I'm asking that the board and the city take another look at the 2018 budget with the goal of managing expenditures so that only need-to-have items are included. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side here to speak on the general fund portion of the budget? Okay, see no further hands. Any members of the board care to discuss? Any lights? I see none. Okay. Do we have a motion and a second for a first reading?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Alderman Anderson. May I have the bill number, please?
1774.
17-74.
Correct.
Pass that down to Alderman Green. Alderman Green, would you do the honors?
Bill 1774, introduced by Alderman Breen, an ordinance approving the general fund budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2018, and containing a summary of general fund expenditures.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Kennedy.
Yes.
Alderman Statter.
Yes.
Alderman Bullock.
Yes.
Alderman Anderson.
Yes.
Alderman Beatty.
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau.
Yes.
Alderman Breen.
Yes.
7 ayes, the motion has passed.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for a second reading.
So moved.
Alderman Maybe made a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Charbonneau. Sorry?
Do we take the second reading on the budget?
Speaking. All right.
We can? All right, sorry, who was the motion?
Alderman maybe was the motion I second.
Thank you, Alderman Charbonneau.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay. So the second reading will be held over until the first meeting in December. Okay. So we'll ask for a motion and a second to close the public hearing on the general fund.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second by Alderman Wallach. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The next public hearing is an ordinance approving the park and stormwater fund budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2018, and containing a summary of park and stormwater expenditures. Is there anyone in the audience that would care to comment on park and stormwater expenditures? Yes, ma'am?
Arthur Duchild, 9158 General Grant Lane. The only expenditure right now that I'd like to comment on is the beautification committee. While I appreciate the work that they're doing, I believe with the decrease in revenues, which the board has adjusted for 2018, I believe $7,000 plus is a bit high for a committee that whose money can be raised privately. And so I would ask that the board reduce the amount allocated to beautification. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the audience? See no further hands. I'll open it up to the board. Anyone on the board have any comments regarding this issue? Okay. Alderman Wallach?
Yeah, just one comment. I know during our budget process, we placed curb and gutter off for the streets as it relates to the asphalt pavement. That's increased around $11,000, close to $12,000. But part of the curb and gutter that was needed is to the concrete streets. Do we have a plan in place? Are we going to have a plan in place in the future for those streets when they come up during mill and overlay work, that those streets also include the concrete streets? Is that something that staff is going to be working with to provide us an idea plan to fix those curb and gutter repairs for those streets that has the concrete overlay?
Asphalt overlay.
Asphalt overlay over the concrete streets. Correct.
Mr. Simpson or
Okay.
Mr. Gillen?
We're going to be looking at all the streets in the city and bring that back to the Board of Aldermen in the first quarter of 2018. Right now I'm reviewing all of the reports that were compiled in the late 90s and early 2000s and trying to put together the list of work that we've had done on the streets since that time and see if it is a expenditure that makes sense to do the repairs to the curb and gutters as well.
Again, as we move forward, I think there's only 2 streets that are affected in 2018, which again has the concrete pavement, which is Anchorage as well as Lodgepole. Those streets, although they do need curb and gutter repair work, but we're not going to do that this year because of the concrete pavement with the asphalt overlay. So, thank you.
Okay. Alderman Maybe?
I think the question was asked and answered at the Ways and Means meeting, but for the benefit of anyone that wasn't there, for the city administrator, we're projecting a 2018 deficit of $184,975 in the park and stormwater fund. That includes the 2 carryover projects from 2017. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And those are projects that were budgeted but not completed this year, or they're not going to be completed this year, and due to the change in the accounting rules, they're tabbed against next year's budget.
There's not really a change in accounting rules. That's how it has to be with governmental budgeting.
Okay. So with the omission of those 2 carryover projects, the Parks and Stormwater Fund would have a surplus?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? See no further lights, so I'll ask for a motion and second to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second. Alderman Maybe and Alderman Pollock seconded. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay. May I have a motion and a second for a first reading?
Second.
Alderman Charbonneau and Alderman Maybe seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Bill number, please.
1775.
Yes, second. Alderman Wallach, please. Alderman Wallach, if you do the honors when you're ready.
Sure.
Bill number 17-75, introduced by Alderman Wallach. An ordinance approving the Park and Stormwater Fund budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2018, and containing a summary of park and stormwater expenditures.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Wallach,
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy,
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau,
Yes.
Alderman Maybe,
Yes.
Alderman Green,
Yes.
Alderman Anderson,
Yes.
Alderman Stafford. Yes. 7 ayes, the motion has passed.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for a second reading.
So moved. Second.
We have a move by Alderman Maybe and seconded by Alderman Charbonneau. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay. All right. We'll now open the public hearing on the Capital Improvement Fund and capital program budgets for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2018, and containing a summary of the Capital Improvement Fund expenditures. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on the Capital Improvement Fund? Okay. I see no hands, so I will ask the board if there's anyone on the board who would care to speak on the Capital Improvement Fund. I see no lights, so I'll ask for a motion and a second to cancel the public hearing. To close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Statter and a second from Alderman Charbonneau. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. We have a motion and a second for a first reading.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Charbonneau and a second from Alderman Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
1776.
1776. Which is weird. For somebody. Pass that down to Alderman Anderson, please. Alderman Anderson, if you do the honors when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bill number 17-76, introduced by Alderman Anderson, an ordinance approving the capital improvement fund and capital program budgets for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2018, and containing a summary of capital improvement fund expenditures.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Wallach?
Yes.
Alderman Statter?
Yes.
Alderman Breeding?
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes.
Alderman Maybe?
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy?
Yes.
7 ayes, the motion has
Okay.
passed.
We have a motion and a second for a second reading.
So. Second.
Alderman Anderson, motion. Alderman Charbonneau, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay. Alderman Kennedy?
Bill number 1776, introduced by Alderman Anderson. An ordinance approving the capital improvement fund and capital program budgets for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2018, and containing a summary of capital improvement fund expenditures.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes.
Alderman Statter?
Yes.
Alderman Wallach? Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Breeding?
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy?
Yes.
Alderman Maybe?
Yes.
7 ayes, the motion has passed.
Okay. All right. We'll now move on to the final ordinance in the budget series, which would be the sewer lateral fund budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2018, and containing a summary of sewer lateral fund expenditures. Anyone in the audience have any comments regarding the sewer lateral fund? I know we had somebody here that tonight that's going to have to use it pretty quick, so thought I'd ask that question. Any comments from the board? I see no lights, so I'll ask for a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
Second.
Alderman Wallach, Alderman Maybe, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay. I have a motion and a second for a first reading of the sewer lateral fund budget. Motion from Alderman Maybe.
Second.
Second from Alderman Charbonneau. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Bill number?
1777.
Okay. Let's see. Alderman Charbonneau, would you do the quick comments on that?
Bill number 17-77, introduced by Alderman Charbonneau, an ordinance approving the sewer lateral fund budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2018, and containing a summary of sewer lateral fund expenditures.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wallach?
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes.
Alderman Maybe?
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy?
Yes.
Alderman Breeding?
Yes.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Statter?
Yes.
7 ayes, the motion has passed.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for a second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Maybe's motion, Alderman Charbonneau seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Alderman Statter, would you do the honors, please?
Bill number 1777, introduced by Alderman Charbonneau. An ordinance approving the sewer lateral fund budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2018, and containing a summary of sewer lateral fund expenditures.
Roll call.
Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes.
Alderman Breeding?
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy?
Yes.
Alderman Statter?
Yes.
Alderman Maybe?
Yes.
Alderman Wallach?
Yes.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
7 ayes, the motion has passed.
Okay. That concludes our public hearings for this evening. We will now move on to the mayor, board of aldermen, and city administrator reports and/or comments. Alderman Brady.
No comment, Your Honor.
Alderman Wallach.
Yeah, really no comment other than, again, the Parks and Committee did meet, but we actually didn't have a quorum, so we hope to have that meeting continue to December. But On the same night, again, I did attend the planning and zoning as it relates to the Stafford House park. Again, that's there's about 14, 15 people there in participation. It was a good crowd, good discussion points that was provided. The second step, looks like the second meeting for that is set for December the 4th from 9:30 to 11 o'clock. And I believe that's at at the City Hall. That's all. Thanks.
Okay. Alderman Stetter?
Thank you, Your Honor. Actually, Alderman Wallach already covered the Parks Board meeting for us, but I did want to congratulate the Christmas and Crestwood Committee and the other volunteers that came into the beautiful Christmas decorations here at City Hall. I think it looks just lovely, and I really appreciate all the hard work that everyone puts in. And the house, let's see, the Christmas and Crestwood contests are all starting up here on the 1st. So the house decorating contest and also the trees in our businesses. So I hope everybody gets out and takes a look at them. Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I'll start with, we did have a police board meeting a week ago from yesterday. At that meeting, we discussed several things going on. The continuation of the Satellite Board project was almost at completion. We also discussed the accreditation process, and that we have continued to get move further along in that process. It is taking a while, so it's a good thing that we did hire the sergeant position to actually handle that, because it's taking on quite a bit to become accredited with new orders and issues coming along. The crime statistics are available online if anyone wants to see them, and that is kind of the wrap up of the police board meeting. The next meeting will be in January. Do also want to say that it was nice this weekend that we got the unseasonable weather. I'm sure many of you, like myself, were able to get in some yard work and put up some holiday Christmas decorations. It's nice to drive around the community. Last night, my wife and my son and I all drove around and looked at the Christmas lights, and it was really nice to see the community come together and congratulate Christmas and Crestwood for doing that. Don't forget that this weekend, the kickoff celebration that happens here, I believe at 2 o'clock. Here, Santa will be here, and then, oh, I'm sorry, 12 o'clock. I apologize. 12 o'clock, Santa will be here. 12 to 2. I think that's why I had it wrong. So, and then of course, don't forget the fireworks show that evening. And that is all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. You might want to mention the fact that the fireworks are at 7 o'clock at St. Elizabeth's across the street.
That's correct. They are at 7 o'clock across the street at St. Elizabeth, so it will be nice to see that. And I know I am personally excited about it. And I know there's a little boy in the household that's definitely excited about it. So with that, Your Honor, I yield the floor.
Okay. Alderman Maybe.
No report, Your Honor.
Okay. Alderman Anderson.
No report.
Alderman Kennedy.
No report.
Okay. City Administrator.
I would like to recognize our new finance officer, Don Guilfoy. It's his second day. I know he's able to meet some members of the board before the meeting, but for the rest of you, get to know his face. So looking forward to the contributions he'll bring. I also see our unpaid administrative intern, Jeff Faust, is in the audience. He's helping us out for the next couple of months. Got to get 300 hours in to complete his master's degree. So we're happy to have him and get him shown around all the various services that the city has and learn what we do.
Good, good. City Attorney?
No report.
Okay. The only thing I was going to say is that I see Jim over there, that our Public Works facility is coming along really well. I noticed that they've removed a number of the trees down there that were in the way, and the building is coming along quite well. And when are they expecting that to be completed?
The completion date is April of 2018, but we'll be moving in March.
Okay. So anyone that has not driven by it, I think we've probably going to start posting some photos online on the website if people would like to see the progress. It's always nice for the residents to know, how their buildings are coming along. So, other than that, I'd just like to again thank the ladies from Christmas and Crestwood for all the great decorations here. I didn't recognize City Hall when I pulled up with the draped fancy stuff on the front entrance and the lights and the ornaments around the sign, and then came into the lobby here, and well, you guys have really stepped it up year by year. So thank you very much. Great job. We appreciate it. Okay, that concludes our reports from the board and mayor. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on any subject on or off of the agenda is welcome to do so. We just ask that you hold your comments to a limit of 5 minutes per person. So, is there anyone on this side that would care to speak? Yes, ma'am. You state your name, and would you pull that microphone up a little, or Mary, straighten it out. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Bertholtz, 9225 Cherry Brook Lane. Thank you for your kind comments about Christmas in Crestwood. It really is an honor to serve our city, and I'm just blessed to be a part of this, because I've lived here since 2003. And it wasn't until 2014, because of Christmas in Crestwood, that I really got to know our city. And in fact, that has something to do with why I'm here tonight. This evening, when I looked at the agenda, I was just made to see that there's consideration of the local revision. And a few months ago, I don't know exactly when the survey went out, I looked at the 3 choices, and I guess I have 2 main points to make, or comments. One has to do with the design itself. The other has to do with the city of Crestwood and the way it reflects the city. And they're really related. Over the last 4 years, I guess, 3-4 years, I've tried to make as many of these board meetings and other meetings as I can. And I think about the comprehensive plan and all the input from citizens and the vision for our city. So when I looked at that design on the survey, I thought, this just doesn't reflect our city. I even sent Sarah Belcher a personal note in the email saying, I'd really like to answer this. I hope I can by the end of the week, but I really don't like any of these designs. At best, they just sort of tweak what's existing. So if you're looking for a fresh look, I don't think it really does that. And as I've just gotten to know the citizens in the city and the businesses in the city, again, I just don't think it really accurately reflects the city of Crestwood and who we are and where we're going. I think the trees are great, but there's more to Crestwood than the trees. And I don't even mind if you keep the trees. But the design that we have, that you're offering tonight, I think at best it just tweaks the old design. It doesn't really do anything to promote our city. Personally, I would not like to see that on our stationery or our entrance signs. I just think there's more to Crestwood than that. So those are my comments. So I just like you to consider looking maybe for other sources for a design. And kind of related to that, I'm just wondering how the designer was chosen. Is it somebody that's familiar with the city of Crestwood? Is it somebody on the internet? Is it somebody that knows somebody? And does that person really know the city of Crestwood? And did they consider that when they made their design?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side care to speak? Yes, ma'am. And you'll please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Paula Kopfer, 886 Woodbine Drive.
Thank you.
I'm coming to you as one Crestwood citizen, but also as a 25-year graphic designer. I'm also asking that you reconsider the logos that are going to be put before you tonight for our city. As a designer, when I first saw them on Facebook, my thoughts were, does this person live in Crestwood? Are they active in the community? Do they love our city? And do they know about our city's past, present, and future? And most importantly, the future and how, where our city's come from in the last 5-10 years. As a professional designer, I would say that this logo does not reflect our city. I know we're a tree city, but we're so much more than that. And you could put Kirkwood, Afton, Webster Groves on that logo and it would work. So how is it going to work for Crestwood? What is Crestwood besides just a tree city? It's so much more, especially in the last 5 years. There's been so much excitement about our city and where we're going in the future. I think our logo should reflect our history, our past. You know, we're Route 66 heyday town. We're the first McDonald's on Watson. The present being the #1 schools. We have many parks. We're one of the #1 places to raise a family in the country, right? Yeah. And also our bright future. I mean, the Route 66 is reviving, and we're a major part of it, and it could be such a huge part of our future. We have so many active communities, so many citizens and residents who love our city. Me being one of them is like, I've been around Crestwood like 15 years, but also swam at Whitecliff my whole life because I grew up in Kirkwood. Not even to mention the mall development and our thriving home sales. So to me, as a professional designer, but also as someone who loves Crestwood, this logo looks very generic. Like, it just, you know, it just looks boring and plain. It doesn't look like Crestwood, this new up-and-coming city. Look where we've been, look where we are, and look where we're going. And I think it'd be nice. There's plenty of people that would be willing to take a stab at it pro bono, including myself.
Really?
So.
Okay, so you're offering to put together a group that work on a logo design for the city?
I am.
Okay.
I would do
we
that
appreciate
for
that.
you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on this side? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sue Bramer. I live at 1086 Atherton Drive. And I just wanted to add one more thing to what the other two ladies said, because I am in full agreement with them. The logo does not reflect who we are. But we have an amazing array of talent here in Crestwood. Paula being one of them, she did all the designs pro bono for Christmas in Crestwood. The person who designed the Beautify Crestwood, they did that gratis. We've got great talent. We need to put it out there and invite them to be a part of this new adventure with the logo. And then I just wanted to add Christmas in Crestwood. We have two other events that you guys didn't mention. We have the classic Santa car cruise, and Santa will leave here resurrecting an old tradition in Crestwood in a classic Willys Jeepster. And the route is online, it's on Facebook, and it's in the office there.
Okay.
They'll stop at 2 parks, and then we also have the car show from 3 to 6 at Fairways.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, anyone else on this side care to speak? I see no other hands there. Anyone on this side care to speak? I see no hands on this side. Okay, so we will close the public comment and move on to the next item, which is old business, which just so happens to be the city logo revisions. So I will ask the board, Alderman Statter, you light us on.
I'd like to make a motion that we table the city logo revisions until we've had an opportunity to see some ideas from the young lady who just offered to put a logo together for us, so that we can include that as part of our decision.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table this for now and give the residents an opportunity to come forth with some logos. And, do we have all those in favor say aye? I'm sorry? I'm sorry. Yeah, sure. Sure, you want to discuss it? Go ahead.
Would be a motion to postpone rather than table. I see.
Okay.
Bring it back up later this meeting.
Okay, so we'll motion to postpone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am in agreement with the postponement. I just wanted to add in, I think it'd be nice too if we maybe put together, and I would even volunteer if there needs to be an aldermanic representative, but maybe a committee or some sort that would help be involved with the energizing the city and trying to get more involvement, and have some volunteers. That way they can help maybe streamline some of the work that city staff would normally have to do to possibly make it easier on the city staff, and then also get more community involvement. Just an idea thrown out there. We can discuss it at a later date.
Okay. Alderman, maybe?
I think that's not a bad idea from Alderman Charbonneau. I'm fine moving this forward and getting some alternatives. Back when we were first discussing this, however long ago it was, there were 3 designs floated around, and we were asked to weigh in. And looking at logos from a variety of cities, plus the logos, especially of all the cities in St. Louis County. There's some really great logos out there. There's some really terrible ones out there. I would say our current one is middle of the pack, kind of average, but not. It doesn't offend me. Some of them, like Winsville, is truly atrocious, and there's a couple others. But our current one is really, it's our name and a couple of trees that look like they were done on Microsoft Paint. It's, I believe, our second city logo. Our initial one is nothing exciting either. You can see it.
Right over there.
Okay, it's right over there, and you can also see it on that gold plaque behind you at the top, where it's just the hill and the trees. And again, it's not offensive, but it is pretty boring. These two, gun to my head, I'd probably pick one of the first one of option D, but I'm not in love with it. I don't like mixing 3 different fonts going on. You have a mix of serif and sans serif fonts, and you have on the front, it kind of just is our same logo carried forward. So I do feel like we can do better, and so I'm open to suggestion on what that looks like, whether it's resident submissions, especially if we have professionals willing to lend their talents. I'm fine with an open competition. I'm fine with a committee, but I'm open to a logo change because our current one, I think there's an opportunity to perhaps do better, but I also think we can do better than the 4 alternatives presented this evening.
Okay. All right, so we had a motion to postpone for Alderman Stetter.
I'm sorry, can you repeat what the motion, it was postponed and then there was.
Yeah, you actually said to let the resident who spoke, put forth options. Do you want it voted down?
I don't think we need that in there. Why don't, postpone, if I could restate it simply to postpone this.
Okay.
We should probably have some
end date in mind.
Or an event. So you can say postpone to ask the city, you can ask the city administrator to.
Well, let me ask.
There needs to be something more than just.
Let me ask the lady that Paula, Ms. Kepler, that offered her time. How long do you think it would take to put together 3 or 4 different versions of a logo?
Working full-time and it being Christmas.
Yeah, I understand.
Probably, I would like to have mid-January.
In February?
That's good. February, okay.
Postpone that until February.
Okay, so we postpone it until February and give the residents an opportunity to come up with some suggestions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Especially since you're going to do it pro bono. All right, so you're.
We postpone this city logo revisions until first February meeting.
Okay, so the motion is to postpone this until the first February meeting. We have a second?
Second.
Alderman Anderson seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, be postponed. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate that. All right, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. Any members of the board that wish to remove any item from the consent agenda, please turn your light on and do so at this time. Alderman Statter?
The only, and we have on the consent agenda a resolution of support for Helen Ingold to fill the IMC Region 6 Director position for the term from 2018 to 2021. I just thought it might be nice to actually read that.
Do that on the consent agenda. Her.
She's going to read it herself. That's not right. I would like to ask that we pull that.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? I see no other lights. So, do I have a motion and a second for a first reading?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Charbonneau. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Do I have a motion and a second for the second reading?
Second.
Alderman Charbonneau motions, seconded by Alderman Statter. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Will the city clerk please read the titles twice consecutively?
Approval of the November 14th, 2017 regular meeting minutes, and an ordinance approving an extension of an agreement with Robinette Inc. for information technology IT support services and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute the same on behalf of the city. That's the only ordinance that we read for the first time. I will now read all three of the ordinances except. Bill number 1768, an ordinance amending Article 3 of Chapter 24 of the Municipal Code of the City of Crestwood, Missouri, to revise certain sections relating to right-of-way usage by utilities and telecommunications providers. Bill number 1769, an ordinance amending Chapter 7.5 of the Municipal Code of the City of Crestwood, Missouri, to add new sections relating to regulations for video service providers, and an ordinance approving an extension of an agreement with Robinette Inc. for information technology support services and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute the same on behalf of the city.
The city clerk please take a roll call.
Alderman Reading?
Yes.
Alderman Wallach?
Yes.
Alderman Stafford?
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau?
Yes.
Alderman Navy?
Yes.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Campbell?
Yes.
7 ayes. Consent agenda has passed.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is items removed from the consent agenda. Alderman Statter, that was your item.
Yes, sir, I would just like to say that we read that in its entirety instead of having it in the consent agenda.
Okay. And I will do that. Resolution number 1709. Whereas Helen Ingold, MRCC, CMC, has worked for the City of Crestwood, Missouri for over 12 years and is in her third year as Crestwood City Clerk. And whereas Helen is an active member of the City Clerks and Municipal Finance Officers Association of Missouri and the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. And whereas Helen currently serves as the Treasurer of the Eastern Division of the City Clerks and Municipal Finance Officers Association of Missouri. And whereas there's a vacant position for IIMC Region 7 Director for a 3-year term from 2018 through 2021. And whereas as the September 11, 2017 Missouri City Clerks and Finance Officers Association annual meeting and election was held, and Helen Engel was elected by the MOCC-FOA membership to fill the IIMC, all these abbreviations, Region 7 Director position for the 3-year term from 2018 to 2021. And whereas it will be an honor to have Helen serve on the Board of Directors of an esteemed international professional organization, the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. Now therefore, I, Greg Roby, Mayor of the City of Crestwood and the Board of Aldermen, do hereby submit Helen Ingold's name to fill the IIMC Region 7 Director position for the term from 2018 through 2021, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to IIMC. Adopted this 28th day of November, 2017. Congratulations, Helen. That's a huge... That is a huge accomplishment and a tremendous thing for you to be doing on behalf of our city. It brings acknowledgement to the work that you've done to get where you are, and I think that that's something that is truly to be promoted and to be appreciated. We thank you very much for taking this on, and all the best of luck. And if there's anything that we can do to assist you, don't hesitate to call the board.
Thank you. Thank you all for your support.
Thank you.
We need a motion.
Yes, yeah, and we need a motion and a second to approve the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, very good. All right, the next item on the agenda is the new business, and that is an ordinance appointing Ron Compton as Chief of Police for the City of Crestwood, Missouri. Mr. Simpson?
Just by way of introduction, we've gone through a hiring process following the announcement of Chief Arnoldy's retirement, which I previously outlined for the Board of Aldermen. The opening attracted 13 applicants. We had a thorough interview process, and after careful consideration, the decision was made to offer the position to our current Deputy Chief of Police, Ron Compton, which he accepted. Pursuant to City Code, a majority of the Board of Aldermen must confirm my recommendation of Deputy Chief Compton for hiring as Chief of Police. Transition work has already begun. Working with Chief Arnoldy, Deputy Chief Compton has done what he needs to do begun doing what he needs to do to make sure that we have a smooth transition. He won't be officially sworn into office until after Chief Arnoldy's official retirement in February, and at that point, when Chief Arnoldy retires, he will assume the position.
All right, any questions from the board? Alderman Sharp.
Just a comment, Your Honor. I was part of the interview process with Mr. Compton, and he's a highly qualified individual and very impressive interview, and he has my full support. And he's a great individual, and I look forward to working with him in the future. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Any other comments from the board? I will just say that I also sat in on that interview, and like Alderman Charbonneau, I was quite impressed with Ron's background and the work that he's done for the city. And I think that it's always encouraging for our employees to see that there is an opportunity for them to move up through the system if they apply themselves and they acquire the proper training, which is something that I'm very big on with regards to our employees, because I think that by providing them with that opportunity and that benefit, that it makes them a better employee for the city, and certainly gives them a step up in having the opportunity to move up within the organization. So I also congratulate Ron on his process. Okay, do we have a motion and a second for the first reading?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Bill number, please.
1779.
Let's see here. Yeah, Alderman Charbonneau, can you read that?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Bill number 1779, introduced by Alderman Charbonneau. An ordinance appointing Ron Compton as Chief of Police for the City of Crestwood, Missouri.
Roll call.
Alderman Sharp.
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy.
Yes.
Alderman Wallach.
Yes.
Alderman Statter.
Yes.
Alderman Anderson.
Yes.
Alderman Baby.
Yes.
Alderman Breeding.
Yes.
7 ayes. The motion is passed.
Okay. Do I have a motion and a second for a second reading?
So moved. Second.
Motion from Alderman Maybe and seconded by Alderman Brady. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay. Alderman Stetter, would you do the honors?
Yes, sir. Bill number 1779, introduced by Alderman Charbonneau. An ordinance appointing Ron Compton as Chief of Police for the City of Crestwood, Missouri.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Anderson.
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau.
Yes.
Alderman Breeding.
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy.
Yes.
Alderman Baby.
Yes.
Alderman Statter.
Yes.
Alderman Wallach.
Yes.
7 ayes. The motion is passed.
Okay. Thank you. Congratulations, Ron. The next item on the agenda is introduction of bills for future issues. And I see none. Alderman Kennedy?
Yeah, I would just like to introduce a possible future bill. I'd like to have, I'll give you a little background. A couple nights ago, Southern Armory was broken into by 3 mass thieves. They smashed the window. They usually got into the store. They stole firearms, and then during that process, some employees of Harbor Freight were doing, I think, inventory or something, and they were shot at. And fortunately, no one was injured, but it could have been just tragic. And I was, surprised that a business selling firearms in our city was not required to put up additional security, whether that would be putting the guns away each day in a safe, or having a steel gate drop down to secure the front glass entrance. So I would like to see an ordinance that any business in Crestwood that sells firearms be required to have additional security at a minimum, steel gate protecting that front entrance. I know that a couple of the retailers in the area, put their guns away in a locked gun safe every night and then take it out, and that's labor intensive, and I can see why that might not be the most practical solution, but certainly at a minimum a steel gate protecting glass, which usually is penetrated, should be mandatory. So I'd like to see our attorney and staff work on that. Thank you.
With regards to that, I did talk to the owner of the gun store, and he said that on video they got him trying to break the glass with a landscape block 3 times. It took them 3 times to get through the glass because it is a thicker glass and it has a film in it that basically prevents it from easily breaking. But yeah, I would agree. There are high-profile businesses in Crestwood, and certainly a gun store is one of those where you have the potential for what's being stolen to be used on someone, and that's unfortunate. So, okay, thank you. Any other items? Alderman, maybe?
I guess this is a discussion. Alderman Kennedy brought up the issue, but is it worthwhile to have the city administrator and police chief prepare us a memo as far as what they would recommend, if anything, what surrounding cities may or may not do before we have the city attorney draft an ordinance? I'm just throwing out a suggestion.
That's a great suggestion.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. Seeing nothing else on future issues, we will now ask the city clerk to read the closed session notice.
The Board of Aldermen is scheduled to meet this evening in closed session immediately following this meeting in order to discuss matters in accordance with Missouri Revised State Statute 610.0211. In order to adjourn to closed session, there needs to be a motion, a second, and a roll call vote.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn to closed session? Alderman Charbonneau and Alderman Bailey seconded. Roll call, please.
Alderman Reed.
Yes.
Alderman Waller.
Yes.
Alderman Stafford.
Yes.
Alderman Charbonneau.
Yes.
Alderman Navy.
Yes.
Alderman Ames.
Yes.
Alderman Kennedy.
Yes.
7 ayes. The motion has passed. You are adjourned to closed session.
Thank you. Thank the public for coming.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.